Hey everyone, welcome back. This is another movie review. This is a movie I've been meaning to review almost all fucking year so far. I watched it in theaters earlier this year and I loved it. Then a few weeks ago I was in a hotel and I watched it again on demand. I loved it again. The reason I did that is because it's been so long since I've watched it. First, I kind of wanted to brush up on it, to remember things I may have forgotten. For some reason, it took me a few weeks to get around to reviewing it again. This is 3 Days to Kill. A very good movie, okay? Like, I went into it literally knowing nothing about it the first time. I was definitely pleasantly surprised. It was directed by MCG and produced by Luc Besson, Adi Hassak, Ryan Kavanagh, Mark Libert, and Fergie Cilia. And then, of course, there's the cast, which is Kevin Costner as Ethan Renner, the main character, Amber Heard as Vivi DeLay, one of the CIA's elite assassins, Haley Steinfeld as Zoe Renner, Ethan's estranged 16-year-old daughter, and then there's Connie Nielsen as Christine Renner, Ethan's ex-wife. And those are the four main ones I guess was worth talking about. There's also Richard Samuel as the wolf, an arms trafficker. And there's Thomas Lemarquis as the albino the wolf's lieutenant. Okay. So what is 3 Days to Kill about? Well, the main character, Ethan, I'm not going to call him by his last name, just Ethan, was a CIA agent for roughly 30 years. Actually, I think it's over 30 years, okay? And because of that, he hasn't been very much time at home. He got divorced from his wife, or at least they consider themselves to be divorced. And his daughter resents him, basically, okay? And he finds out in this movie that he has a terminal disease and he's dying, okay? He has, I think it was like 3 to 6 months to live, and so he wants to spend, and so the CIA basically lets him go, thanks him for his services, and then he decides he wants to spend the rest of his time with his daughter. So he does, and she doesn't like it at first, but eventually she warms up to the fact. And there's lots of really heartwarming moments in this movie with them, which I think one of the things that the movie does the best. But she doesn't know that he's dying, though. He doesn't want to tell her yet. In fact, by the end of the movie, I don't know if she ever actually found out. However, he ends up, because he doesn't die by the end of the movie, okay? Because he ends up getting confronted by a CIA assassin named Vivian, who confronts him with an experimental drug, and if he kills for her, which he decides to, even though he promised his wife that he wouldn't, she'll give him the drug so that he can live, basically. Well, supposedly, like, the end is very vague, because he gets the drug in the end, it takes it out of the box, he looks at it, and that's it. But it's an experimental drug, so it could very well not work, So that's why the end is very vague. I'd like to say that he kind of lived, because with how heartwarming that the ending scene is, it kind of suck if he had just ended up dying after that, Especially since, again, I don't think his daughter even knew that he was dying in the first place by the end of it. Now, this movie is great because it manages to combine, like, family drama, action, very good action, very well choreographed, and very well done action. You know, and it manages to combine them very well. Normally, I complain that that feels kind of out of place, or the movie doesn't know what it wants to be. But somehow, 3 Days to Kill manages to combine them very well, and I actually very much appreciated that. Okay, they were very good because there's just as much of one type of scene as there is of the other. Okay, and just when there's getting deep into a heartwarming scene, they might break into an action scene for whatever reason, and it's not out of place either. The action scene is there because it's either necessary in order to take out an enemy, or it helps to advance the story in some way that was already being advanced by the heartwarming scene, which is it's very good. It's good writing. It's good writing. This movie has very good writing behind it. Okay. So yeah, the acting is also very good as well. Like, all of these characters in turn are extremely believable and likable, and that has to do with not only the writing but also the acting, which was very good. Okay. Whew. Yeah, so the writing's good, the acting's good. There's not really much for special effects except for the explosions that happens occasionally in this movie, which all look very realistic, you know. Like I said before, the action is really good, so I don't really think there's anything else for me to talk about with this movie. It's not like, say, Captain America or Guardians of the Galaxy, where I can go rant for almost 20, or not rant, or I can talk for almost 20 minutes about it, you know, because I have a lot to say, because those are superhero movies, and I love those so much. This one, I think I'm going to wrap up this review, even though it is kind of short. I pretty much love this movie, and I definitely recommend it, okay? It was definitely a great watch, okay? And I definitely recommend it if you're into this type of movie, because because the action is really good, but it's not just mindless action, okay? Which is something you have to remember when going into this movie. Like, you're going to get lots of really good action, but it's not just mindless action. There's a point to it all, okay? And the story here is very strong. So anyways, overall, I hope you enjoyed this review, guys. These after, guys. Thanks for watching. Bye-bye.